What?
It's time now for My Two Favorite Librarians. Brought to you by Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.
Hi, this is My Two Favorite Librarians. I'm Denise Corey.
I'm Chantel Taylor, and today we're going to talk about the 7 deadly sins as it relates to popular culture. We're not just going to lecture you.
Or ourselves.
I have some TV references.
I should say, too, we're recording this one in advance because I am away this week.
Don't tell people that.
Yeah, I don't have stuff. Somebody could take my cats.
I was talking about how everything always goes wrong.
Well, I'm at a conference in Toronto, and I'm going to come back super smart.
I'm not at a conference.
No.
I'm probably up to my armpits in snow.
Oh, my goodness. I hope it's not snowy. So, this is one of the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge categories. I'm supposed to read a book that contains one of the deadly sins.
So, first of all, can you name them all?
I can because I wrote them down there in front of me.
Oh, okay.
But we had a conversation about this in the office, and I think between the two of us, we got 4. And then we called in Adam, and he got 2 more. And then the last one, he said lying. But it
was pride.
It was pride. So there is lust, greed, sloth, gluttony, pride, and wrath.
Nice.
Sometimes they say anger, but I like wrath better.
Also, there are so many romance characters named Wrath.
Isn't there one in the Immortals? No, it's in the
Black Dagger Brotherhood.
Black Dagger Brotherhood.
The king is named Wrath, son of Wrath.
Well, and that's the thing. I was like, almost every single book has the 7 deadly sins in it.
Well, I mean, really, it covers the gamut, so yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, most of the books that you read contain lust.
All kinds of lust.
So much lust.
So much. There's actually a romance series called The 7 Deadlies MC, which is Motorcycle Club.
Oh, wait, did I mention envy? Did I say envy?
I was going to say I thought you forgot envy, but I was like, I just didn't hear it.
I just flipped to my next page and went, oh, envy. The 6 deadly sins and envy. I don't know. Sorry, go back.
Oh, the 7 Deadly MC series, which is Motorcycle Club by Caitlin, I don't know how do you pronounce her last name, Ewald. And so each of the books is about one of the deadly sins in a motorcycle club.
I could just read that. I only need to have one of the 7 deadly sins, and like every single book, pretty much. Even probably books by like Karen Kingsbury, she's a big Christian fiction writer, they probably have a deadly sin in it because, you know, there's got to be some reason.
There's got to be conflict.
There's got to be conflict to make the story. Otherwise, what is the story?
So I was reading, when I was doing research for this, 7 Deadly Sins, I came across a sort of an internet controversy that allegedly Sherwood Schwartz, who created Gilligan's Island, apparently based each of the characters on one of the 7 deadly sins. Allegedly, because some of the internet says, oh, this is lies, and some of it says, oh, he said this in his book.
What is Gilligan then?
Gilligan is sloth.
Is he?
Well, I mean, Mrs. Howell and Gilligan could really be interchangeable because she could be gluttony, but she could also be sloth. I feel like she does nothing. But the wrath is the skipper, lust is Ginger, pride is the professor, envy is Marianne, greed is Mr. Howell, and I would say gluttony is Mrs. Howell. It's just not food gluttony, which is what we often think of.
No. I mean, I guess there are other kinds of gluttony. It's about sort of...
But also Hannibal Lecter, that series, they had characters based on the 7 deadly sins as well. I didn't write it all out here, but I can't remember what. Clarice and Hannibal were pride and...
I was going to say Clarice has got to be pride.
I can't remember what he is because he's not wrath. That's something else. Anyway, so I mean, whether or not people intend, you can read a lot of things into the characters. Like any character.
Or you could just watch the movie 7 with Brad Pitt.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
And
that was horrifying.
Has the 7 deadly sins There's like a serial killer killing people with the deadly sins. And as soon as I started thinking about it, I started to think about that movie. And then I was just like, yeah, no, it creeped me out. It's creepy.
Really did. It really did.
It's creepy. The end is very creepy.
On a much happier note, Janet Ivanovich has a series, the Lizzie and Diesel series, that's based on the 7 Deadly Sins. And it was actually really good. It's kind of a spin-off of Stephanie Plum. But there's only 3 books so far. So we've gotten Gluttony, Greed, and Lust. And I hope that she finishes it.
You know, I did not know that about that series.
It was cute. Diesel is a character that appears in Stephanie Plum, and it's weird, and he has, he's not in the main series. He was in Between the Number series, and which was like holidays, and he's like an unmentionable catcher, and so unmentionable is like Santa Claus and like the Easter Bunny. And
so he bounty hunts Santa Claus.
Well, no.
Okay.
He was helping Santa Claus, but
okay.
There are other bad unmentionables.
I see.
Like his cousin. Oh, I can't think of his name. It's Grimoire something. 2 G's. Anyway. And so in this one, he's trying to find, so the 7 deadly sins are like a physical thing. And if some regular human comes in contact with the physical thing, they like get sort of amplify. So in the first one, which was Wicked Appetite, was gluttony, and she was coming into Lizzie's bakery and she was buying like a dozen cupcakes every day, and like constantly eating the cupcakes. She couldn't get enough. She had on her keychain whatever it was. So they're trying to track down and find the object, and they don't know what it is, to put it back in its place so it doesn't like ruin the world.
Oh, I see.
So it's very funny. There's a monkey. It's like typical crazy.
Janet Ivanovich's books tend to be a bit lighthearted. I mean, there's action and adventure and like cars blow up, but also, well, at least in the Stephanie Plum series, because I didn't read any of the other ones, but in the Stephanie Plum series, like her grandmother is hilarious, and you know, Stephanie Plum is ridiculous, and Lula is just absurd, and so you know, there's action and adventure, but it's also very funny.
I enjoyed it. Like, I love Stephanie Plum. It's one of my favorites. I read it every year, and like I said, I'm really sad that they've stopped at 3 books. Like, where are the rest?
Well, maybe she just can't pump them out all the time.
But she does.
So I was asked about how I read so many books in a year. And I know that this is going back to the topic we talked about last week with goals and that kind of thing. But I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. I know, I'm getting way off topic. I do that. So how do I read so many books in a year? It's because I have a book with me at all times. I have one loaded on my phone, or more than one loaded on my phone, which is super convenient because you almost always have your phone with you. And if you're standing in line to get a cup of coffee, then you just take your phone out and read a page or 2. I also have a book on my bedside table. I have a book that sits in the living room. I have books everywhere.
A book in the kitchen, an audiobook.
I have an audiobook in the kitchen. I usually have an audiobook loaded on my phone so I can plug it into my car. So, yeah, I have a book with me at all times, and I always have books lined up to read next. So I always have a stack of books I want to read next, or a stack of books on hold, and those are my, I think, 2 major ways of getting most of my reading in.
You also read, like, you don't waste any time. Like, if you're in line at Tim Hortons, you'll pull out your phone and start reading.
Yes.
Even if it's a minute, it's still a minute you've read something.
Yeah. Standing in line without a book is just like torture for me. And it became so much easier when I could start loading books on my phone and didn't have to carry around a book with me, because I used to carry a book in my purse, but now I just pull out my phone.
Yeah.
So what are you reading right now?
So I'm reading Indian-ish by Priya Krishna and her mom, Rathu Krishna. And Priya Krishna is like a food writer, and she's written for Bon Appetit, and she's written for the New York Times, and she got a cookbook deal, and she went to her mom and said, I need you to write me 100 recipes. Mm-hmm. So her mom moved to the States from India with her husband, like in her 20s, And her mother, Rithu's mother, didn't teach her how to cook. And so she got here and she really didn't have any culinary skills, but obviously you have to eat. And so the cookbook is really interesting. Priya talks about like growing up Indian in America, and the subtitle for this book is something about a classic American family. She didn't want to be pigeonholed in like world food. She wanted to be with all the rest of the cookbooks. And so she talks about like, my sister and I came home and we wanted pizza. And so her mom invented like roti pizza. And it's not like sauce and cheese and dough. It's like a roti with potato and rosemary, or like a grilled cheese with...
That sounds delicious.
It's really good.
Right
like the recipes are amazing. The grilled cheese, I can't remember all of the things, but I know there was like pickled onion and something else, and she like put on top like garlic and just like these amazing amalgams of sort of, I'm using quotes you can't see, but like American food and like their Indian food.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of amazing recipes in it, and I can't wait to try and cook something.
Are you going to cook things and bring them in?
No, I'm going to cook them and eat them in my house.
By myself, with
That's
no
right.
one else. I'm reading Crow by Amy Spurway. This was recommended by Jelana. And when I went to Lunenburg Lit in September with Jelana, Amy Spurway was one of the authors who was there, so she read a chunk of this book. So Crow is the name of the main character. Her real name is Stacy, and she has moved home to her mother's house in Cape Breton from Toronto, China. She had a successful career in Toronto. She was a marketer. She lived in a downtown condo. She said, you know, things were all great until she gets diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor, and then she goes home to her mother to, well, she thinks to die. I don't know. I'm not far enough in. I hope she doesn't die. I kind of like her. It's Canadian, so, you know. It's
Very depressing.
It's got to be depressing.
I won't be reading that.
What's on at the library?
I have nothing. I forgot to write in what's happening.
Well, I know that on January 29th is Teen Anime Club in Oxford at 3 o'clock.
I do remember that, yes.
I can't give you any details about it, but you can call the Oxford Library and talk to Megan and see what she has planned. And on January 28th is Evil Genius at the Amherst Library, and that is a drop-in program. You don't have to register to go. She does different science-y things each week. It's for kids who are aged 9.
I think it's P to 6. I think Julie changed it.
So she expanded it.
Yeah.
Okay. So every week, new science-y.
I wouldn't say science. I would say STEM.
Or, well, STEM, STEAM, because it could be science, technology, art, math, engineering. So, yes, those are what I have. And if you want to see what is happening at the library, just go on to our website, which is
www.cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca.
On there, you can check our calendar of events. You can also go into our catalog and see all the things that we own that you can borrow. And you can find our socials. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. What are we talking about next week, lady?
Next week, we're going to talk about books with great first lines.
Ooh.
I feel like this is a pop sugar reading challenge.
It is.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Bye.
My 2 favorite librarians. Brought to you by Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.